Once again, everyone, welcome to this particular session. Good afternoon. My name is Joel Omike. Please just mute yourself so that you do not cause distraction to the rest of the people on the call. Interestingly, every day your talent strategy is outdated, you are bleeding money, whether you see it or you don't see it. All right, in Nigeria's cutthroat market environment, every on-field skill, every disengaged top performer, every misaligned hire quietly sabotages growth. And this is not theory. It is measurable loss that organizations are facing. And I'm not talking about vague opportunities or nice to have HR initiatives. I'm talking about real, countable, painful loss. The kind your CFO and your CEO will find buried in the numbers and wonder why you don't sound the alarm. The one wrong hire, one disengaged high performer, one critical skill gap that you have that is on field for too long and you've gone nothing to do about it over time can only result in additional millions of loss in revenue. And here's the thing. Talents gaps don't send you an email announcing themselves. Hey, I have talent gap here or something like that. They leak quietly. They hide behind excuses. They wait until the damage is too big for you to hide it. And by then, you are already in recovery mode, right? And that's why we're here in this session today. Today is not about fluffy HR talk, all right? Today's conversation is a workshop, right? It's about evidence, and it's about giving you a blueprint, one you can use immediately to identify, to measure, and to close those gaps before they sink your organization's ship. And by the time we're done, you will have a clear picture of where your gaps are and how much they are costing you. You have a proven tool to measure those gaps in your hands, right? And you have a business case that your MD and CFO will just have no choice but to approve what you bring to them. So if you came here to learn more about talent management, you're in the wrong room. This is not a talent management training. But if you came here to confront the truth, to crunch the numbers and build a plan that your leadership team cannot ignore, but to sponsor in order to solve the problems you have within your organization, then you're in the right room with me. All right. This particular webinar is brought to you by P4P Institute. We focus more on P4PETalks as a platform through which we develop professionals, we develop individuals and teams using expertise insights that are appropriate for personal development and growth, as the case may be in your career within the organization. As an organization, we've been around for the past 14 years, P4P Institute. We are focused on helping mid-sized businesses to grow and develop and advance as the case is. We provide solutions and advisory services to enable growth, development, and transformation. Our expertise ranges around business growth, organizational development, HR transformation, AI, and data analytics. And we are in good company with organizations across various sectors in aviation, transport, financial services, manufacturing, FMCG, energy and ICT, the public sector, and of course, other institutions like our own. We spend quite a lot of time with organizations, engaging them in different forums, right? Helping them to orchestrate and deliver results as much as possible. We love what we do here at P4P Institute, and we're only happy to extend the same courtesy to you also. And by the way, my name is Joel Omike. I am a trusted advisor. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a coach. And I'm popularly referred to as the TheHRGodFather. I am very certified around helping organizations in various industries to drive growth and transformation in various areas. I am a thought leader, and I've written quite a lot of books. If you haven't gotten a copy, please feel free to reach out to me and get a copy of some of my books as the case is. In one of my recent books, you will find this book on Amazon. It says that the most dangerous person in HR is the one who never challenges the CEO. If you're an HR person and you don't challenge your CFO, you don't challenge your CEO, in that case, you're a very dangerous person. Loyalty is not silence. It's not yes, sir, and accepting what they say always. It is courageous counsel. It's your ability to say, excuse me, sir, I share a different opinion in this area. Here are the numbers and this is what they say. If you can speak that way, you will gain the respect and own the leadership table within your organization. And the book Fire Your HR is just the right tool to help you to achieve that result as much as possible. Back into our conversation today, right? A few rules to help you to navigate our conversation today. Please, I invite you to share emojis, share thoughts, share conversations right on the chat box, right? You may speak when you're invited to speak. If not, so all of us will be speaking with several of us who are signed on this program. We don't know who will listen to. And try to keep your mics muted at this point. Try and mute them now if they are not muted already. All right. And to help those who don't have strong data connection, you may want to turn off your video for the sake of them. And then later when you want to speak, you can turn on your video at that point in time. Feel free to ask questions, share comments, share concerns, but please do that in the comment section in the chat box. And I'll circle back to that comment chat regularly in order to pick up your feedback, your questions, and I give you answers to them as we move on. All right, so we've said a lot. Why are we here today? So this session is not about HR pep talk. It's not a 1-hour blueprint for identifying, measuring, and fixing talent links that you're going to use in order to address your CFO. You will walk away from this session with a practical action plan that is rooted on data, and you'll be amazed by the data you'll be able to generate. And it will be sharpened by strategy and aimed with results that you can share. If you follow through, pay attention, absorb as much as possible from what we're going to share, you are going to learn 3-4 different things. One, the ability to pinpoint and quantify the cost of your talent gaps. 2, you'll be able to leverage data to make smarter HR and business decisions that are measurable with ROI. So we've always been talking about ROI in HR. Is it practical? Is it possible? You'll be challenged with the thoughts we'll share today. 3, you'll be able to apply the talent gap analysis tool that will help you to prioritize various interventions. This is a bespoke tool that we developed in P4P Institute, and we use it with our clients to help them during their workforce planning to identify gaps within their organization. In this session, I'll give you a glimpse into that particular tool, all right? And if you're interested in using the tool way bigger into your organization properly, I'll be very available for you to have a further discussion. And then finally, we shall build a budget approach, right? Business case that you're going to use to defend your talent investments. And you will get answers. You'll get responses and feedback from those particular areas. Okay, so that's what you're going to take away. In terms of my journey, how I'm going to walk through this particular conversation, I'm going to be discussing these 7 things. 1, what is the cost of doing nothing when there are talent gaps? So talent gaps are silent profit killers. They erode your bottom line. What is the cost of not paying attention to them? 2, spotting the hidden gap. What skills are you missing? What leadership, what engagement, what alignment are not in place that is causing that gap within your organization? 3, we'll come up with how to quantify the pain, right? The numbers that make executives listen to us when we speak in HR. Then we'll introduce you to the talent gap analysis tool. We'll do a quick live demo around it and a quick application on that particular tool. Then 5, we'll move from data to decision-making, an action plan that drives results as the case is. And then we'll sell it to your leadership, how to sell the outcome of this to your leadership. How do you secure budget? How do you secure approval based on evidence that you're going to give to them? And then as we wrap up in our conversation today, we shall share a 90 days challenge, a plan through which you can use to implement and change some of the narrative within your organization. So if this looks good for you, please comment on the chat box, say let's do it. Use the chat box. Let me invite you to a conversation on the chat box. Just write let's do it. If this looks like a discussion you like to have now. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's do it. Thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks a lot. Okay, so I feel encouraged now. Now I can continue the session. Let's take the first one, the cost of doing nothing, right? The cost of doing nothing within the organization. When you do nothing, the talent gaps will continue to drive and drain the organization, as the case is. And people will begin to wonder why HR is not working. And that is because we are not doing anything at that point in time. Now, the hidden price tag of inaction. Talent gaps usually do not announce themselves. They don't say, hello, there's a gap here. You don't hear any part of the organization say, hello, we don't have skills here, as the case is. They usually bleed quietly. They are like a leaking faucet, a drop from your tap that is always dropping one drop, top, 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 top. That one drop that is dropping, you will not notice it as anything minute because you have a giant tank. Imagine if you have a big GP tank and it's full of talent, so to speak. But it is leaking one talent at a time, top, top, top. In a day, you will not notice. In a month, you might not notice, as the case is. But imagine if that tank continues to leak throughout the entire week, throughout the entire month, throughout the entire quarter. At the end of the day, you notice that your tank of talent will begin to drop and drop at that point in time. Losses show up in missed opportunities, delayed projects, and eroded morale. Every month, you see that you do not take action, it compounds the effect at that point in time. So here's the danger. Talent gaps are not like a fire alarm. You don't hear grrrring that something is wrong. No, they don't scream. They only whisper. A delayed hire here, an underperforming leader there, one skill gap in a critical project. Before you know it, you have lost the bid, right? You've missed the delivery deadline or date, and your team's morale have collapsed, as the case is. And what's the problem? Every month you delay closing that gap, the cost multiplies within the organization. It's not just about salary. It's about opportunity cost at that point in time. It is reduced speed to market and even reputational loss for you at that point in time. So when you say that, okay, because it's a salary that we did not pay, salary is not the cost. When organizations lose, when you bleed talent, it's not the cost. So you ask, if one staff walks away, it's okay, how much are we even paying the staff? After all, what we're losing is the salary we're not paying. Not true. What is the staff supposed to be delivering for you at that point in time? What is the value the staff is bringing on the table? That is what you are missing. That is what you're losing at that point in time. What if the staff is working with other team members? What if the staff is on a project, as the case is? So clearly, there's a hidden price tag of our not taking action when we are bleeding talent at that point in time. Think about your own organization, right? Think of a critical role in your business. What's the longest it has stayed on field? A critical role in your organization. Think about that role. How long has it stayed on field? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? What happened during that particular period? Share on the chat box. Think of one role, very critical in your organization, that took you the longest time to fill. How long did it take? Did it take 1 month? Did it take 2 months? Share in the chat box. Any role in your organization that took you a long time to fill. How long did it take? Yes, thank you very much. 3 months, fantastic. 3 months. I hear 3 months. It took 3 months. Another person has 6 months that it took to fill that particular role, as the case is. Critical role that we'll find within the organization. Another person, 6 months. All right. What if we're paying that particular role 1 million naira every month? So in 6 months, what we appear to have lost is 6 million naira. But it's not true. That particular individual or that role is supposed to be delivering beyond 1 million naira. What if it's a sales role? What if it's a marketing job? And then the average revenue in the organization is 5 million naira a month. So 5 million times 6 months, what you have lost is 30 million naira. That's what has been lost, not the 1 million naira you paid the individual. Thank you very much for responding. That's to show you the cost, the hidden price of not addressing talent loss within your organization. Now, where is the money leaking from? Where does it leak from? One, it leaks from lost revenue, right? Delayed product launches, missed contracts, opportunities in the market that we could not pursue. Two, it can be increased cost because that person is not there, that role is vacant, or that skill is not there at that point in time. There is overtime, there is rework, there is hiring mistake. There is a lot of mistakes at that point in time that we're going through, and then we're having issues with it at that time. Or there's productivity drop at that point in time. There is lower output, longer delivery time, as the case is. And that's an example of another loss at that time. And then there's a turnover spiral, right? Top talent leaves due to the stress that the top talent is going through. Talent does not like stressful environment. That's why talent calls some environment toxic. What do they mean by toxic? The environment is very stressful. Maybe because of poor leadership. Maybe processes are not working, or there's insufficient talent to work with. So you stretch the individual. What the person should have done 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the person spends up to 9 p.m. doing it. So the person feels weakened by it. So talent gaps have these four main leaking points: lost revenue, increased cost, productivity decline, and talent turnover. All right. And let me give you a real example. Let's look at a real example. So there's this particular organization, all right, a fintech, and they are growing very fast. They lost 250 million naira deal because one critical developer, one of their developers, right, one developer role was vacant for a long time. They couldn't fill that developer role in 3 months. After 3 months, the organization that was working with them, that was connecting with them and providing them funding, went to another fintech and took the money away as a case, and they lost 250 million naira. It went to the competitor. So see, the financial hit was obvious. But how about the hidden hits? The demoralization of the team, the fact that the project that they were working on was then abandoned, and then eventually some other talent left. Because after that money went to another organization, that organization came to them and poached some of the staff that they have. This is why it's important to pay attention to talent gaps. Then, of course, there's also a compounding effect. So delay in addressing a gap is equal to exponential damage at that point in time. Talent gaps are never isolated. One gap always triggers another gap. And that's why delay is deadly. The on-field role leads to overwork. Overwork leads to burnout. Burnout leads to resignations. And suddenly the hole that you're trying to manage becomes a giant gully at that point in time. So the cost of prevention is always lower than the cost of trying to recover. Always. It is always lower at that point in time. Now, let me ask you one more. Which of these costs do you think hurts your organization the most right now? Is it revenue loss, the loss of revenue when we have a gap, or high costs? Or is it a productivity drop? Or is it turnover? Which one hurts your organization the most? Just answer A, B, C, D, any one of them. Which one is the one that drains your organization whenever you have a talent gap the most? Thank you very much. So the answers are coming in. Thank you. So revenue loss, productivity drop, turnover issues, people are resigning. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. So these are real. I mean, these conversations are real. I am not just speaking. It's things that you can relate with. You can see it within your organization at that time. Now, but despite all this, we talk to executives, right? And they don't listen to us. Why? They don't listen because they want to listen to hard numbers. Hard numbers make executives listen more than soft numbers, so to speak. So leaders ignore soft language, but they respond to hard costs. In my years as an advising executives and helping them to advance their organization, I have learned one truth. Leaders don't fund problems. They don't fund problems, as the case is. If they see problems, they don't fund it. They only fund losses. If you show executives that they are losing 100 million, 200 million, 50 million, they'll give you money immediately to go and plug it up, to go and stop the loss at that point. They don't like losing, as the case is. So if you go into a meeting and tell the executive, we have a skills gap, you will get sympathy. But if you go in saying, our 4-month sales vacancy has cost us 20 million naira, and you will get instant attention. You will get the budget you need at that point. And that's the shift we're making today. in our conversation. Move from soft language. Don't be telling them you have skill gap. Don't tell them somebody has resigned. Don't tell them the people are not productive. Engagement level is low. Those are soft information. They don't want to hear it. If you say this, they will tell you, okay, that's sad. It's sad our organization is going through this. Well, HR, find something and do to it. Finance, let's move on. They always move on and leave us behind. But if we speak their language, hard numbers, right? Because what gets measured gets budgeted. And I tell you the truth, that's the thing about executives. What gets measured gets budgeted. That's my conclusion. That's something I found out. If you can show them the numbers. So one senior sales role vacant for 4 months is equal to 200 million naira in lost potential revenue. No executive will keep quiet. 200 million, that's serious as the case is. And no executive, as the case is paid 200 million naira in salary in a year, as the case. If you break 200 million naira into salary, that's equivalent of about 18 to 20 million naira monthly. So for an organization to be losing 400 million in 4 months, they will wake up. They want to listen to you at that point in time. So my conclusion, start every talent conversation with the financial impact, not the HR pain point. Don't say last month we have an attrition rate of 20%. Stop speaking that language. It doesn't sell anymore. All right? Now, our second conversation is on spotting the gaps. How do you spot this gap? We say that the gap can be leadership, it can be skill, it can be engagement, it can be alignment. How do you spot this gap? So you know what to talk about to your executives. For one thing, not all gaps are obvious. Vacancies are easy for you to see, but the most dangerous talent gaps don't have a recruitment advertisement attached to them. They hide in plain sight, right? They are quietly limiting performance while you focus on those fires that you're trying to fight at that point in time. There are 4 main categories of talent gaps that quietly erode the value that you have. And if you don't work on them, they can sink the organization. They can sink our growth before we even know they are there. So think of the gaps like an iceberg, right? You see, vacancies is what you see at the top. Oh, 2 vacancies, 3 vacancies. So HR always sees the vacancies. That's what you see. But do you know that vacancy, under that vacancy are other hidden things? No skill, no leadership, disengagement, misalignment. And these things are weightier. They are heavier than the vacancy that we're seeing at that point in time. So here's a question for you to ponder over. How many of you have ever been blindsided by a performance problem you didn't see coming before? Yes, I'm sure you've had that before. Sometimes you've hired somebody and you made a hiring mistake. Or sometimes a manager has been going through some problems with their subordinate or with their team, and we didn't notice it or we kept quiet about it. What happened? At the end of the day, business slowed down. The team stopped producing at that point in time. Result is hampered, so to speak, as the case is. And sometimes we lose talent. The talent walks away. Sometimes the employee walks away because management or the leader was not able to manage that process at that point. So not all gaps are obvious, as the case is. Now, taking from here, I have identified skill, leadership, engagement, and alignment as the 4 types of gaps, talent gaps that you most probably have. Think about your own organization. Which of these 4 gaps are real for you? Skill gap, missing technical or functional competencies. There is somebody there, but the person is not technically sound. He is not functionally competent. Leadership gap, inadequate decision making. Leaders are slow in taking decisions. They are not sharing the results that they are getting with other individuals. There is no vision, no direction. They are not managing the people very well, as the case is. So you have a leadership gap. They are not even delegating very well. Alignment gap. Talented people working on the wrong priorities, working on the wrong projects. Your best hands, you put them on useless projects that are not driving the growth of the organization just because those projects are nice to have. Or engagement gap. Employees are disconnected. They are delivering with minimal effort. They drag themselves to work in the morning. They sign in at 8 o'clock. and they are in a hurry to sign off at 5 o'clock. They are tired of the institution and the results that they are getting. Okay? So skill gaps happen when the know-how just isn't there, and leadership gaps are when decision-making, vision, or people management falls below expectation. Engagement gaps are when people have the skills, but not the drive, not the energy, not the excitement, not the passion to get the job done. And alignment gaps are the silent killers. People working hard, but on the wrong things. You see a lot of activity in the organization, but no successful result pushing us forward. So I know because there's an organization I know very well, how they lost a client worth millions. They had brilliant engineers solving problems, right? But the customer never asked them to solve the problem. Engineers coming up with solutions that the customer is not interested in. They spent close to 1 year having several meetings with the organization. But at the end of the day, the organization say, you know what, this is not what we want. We want something else at that point in time. And the manufacturing company pivoted to other organizations as the case is. And that's an example of what we're talking about at this point in time. Now, how do you spot invisible gaps? Gaps that you cannot see directly, so to speak. Because sometimes all these things is like a consultant is speaking in the air, you really cannot touch your hand on what we're saying. How do you find the gaps? First, look beyond performance reviews, look beyond appraisals. Because appraisals don't tell us the truth. Let's be honest. You know that the appraisals that we do, if your organization is currently doing appraisal, you know appraisals do not always tell all the truth because of the errors that I feel in appraisals at that point in time. Dig into the output, the outcome, the speed, the quality, the result that is being generated at that point in time. Look at your metrics within the organization. All right. So performance reviews alone will not expose the gaps. You need to look at the hard data. Your output rates, your delivery times, your error units, the error counts. Then match that with the human signals you're receiving. What are human signals? Overtime patterns, staff attrition, all right, disengagement that you see. Information you hear from the grapevine. In every organization, there are people talking behind management. Every organization. Once management walks in, people stop talking. When management leaves, they continue talking. It's everywhere. So find a way to listen to that thing they are saying at the back. It gives you information of what is not working, or what they are struggling with, or what they don't want to tell you directly in your face, as the case is. So if turnover in one department is climbing and the customer complaint rate is rising, you are not just unlucky. You have a hidden gap. That's the main problem. And it's already costing you a lot at that point in time. So here's my tip for you to be able to solve this problem. Use multiple lenses. Yeah, use multiple lenses in order to address it. Look at the data, look at your observation, look at feedback, look at various things that are coming up in various departments, and use that to address it as much as possible. Now, here's one way I use for spotting up gaps. One organization says, Joel, we have issues, come and look at it for us. I go through three steps that help me to achieve this. Step one, I pick one department, critical department in the organization, right? And I list the top 3 performance outcomes that they should deliver, that particular department. What is the top 3 they must deliver? An example, sales. What must sales deliver? Revenue, Naira. New customers, total number of customers, all right? As the case is, volume or quota achieved at that point in time. If I look at revenue and it is not rising and it's not large, there's problem. I look at number of customers, new customer acquisitions. We are not acquiring customers. There's problem. I look at volume sales. Even if they are selling out to revenue, but all the volume is going to one customer, as the case is, then there's a problem at that point in time. That's an example. Or look at the HR department. Let me take another department. HR, since a lot of people sign here are most probably HR people. You look at the HR department. What is HR supposed to deliver? 1, staff. Make sure they have talented individuals within the organization. 2, engagement. Let's ensure that all the employees are engaged and they are doing what they're supposed to do. 3 is their skills, their talent, their learning and development. How strong are they? How skilled are they at that point in time? Are they competent on their job? So if I do a measure and notice that in the HR department, there is always receiving complaints, employees are always complaining, That's a problem. Or I notice that they're always trying to recruit. The recruitment desk, they're always hiring. Every time they're advertising, they are doing interview. That's another problem. There's a gap at that point in time. Or I look at training. Employees are complaining, managers are complaining that people are not doing the work very well. That's another gap, as the case is. In any department, identify the top 3 performance outcomes that they should deliver on. Then step 3, where are results inconsistent from what is supposed to be? Then that's the gap you're looking for. You have your gap at that point in time. So if I go in as a consultant into any organization, within the first 1 hour of talking to various leaders, I'm able to narrow down to where the gap is immediately. And we can then move into the mode of discussing how to solve the problem. So here's an exercise for you, right? Take your time. Write down, take 2 minutes and jot down your answers to these steps that I've mentioned. Just list one department you know in your organization. Write that department down. Then beside the department, draw 1 line, draw 3 lines. What are the 3 things the department is supposed to deliver? Then on each of the lines, write there 100% that they are delivering 100% or less than 100%. Any percentage from 0 to 100 that they are delivering in those areas. If you have any department that is delivering less than 75% on any of the 3 lines, then you have the issue. You have the department in question. You have the department and the gap that you're looking at as the cases that they're supposed to deliver. So that's an exercise for you to do. And that's one of the best things you can give to your organization as the case is. Now let's progress to the next level. The next level is now let's quantify the pain. Now we know the gap. What is the size of this gap? How painful is this gap that we're facing right now? How bad is the gap? Remember we said earlier that numbers change the conversation. Don't go there and discuss soft things. Leaders don't fund problems. They fund losses. If you walk into a budget meeting saying we have a skills gap, you might get sympathy, but not money. But if you say our skill gap cost us 18 million naira last quarter, you will have their attention before you sit down. Numbers change the conversation because they strip the emotions out and make the losses undeniable. So in this section, we're going to make our gaps speak the language of executives. Data makes the invisible undeniable, and they will listen to you. So don't ever again say we have a skills gap. Rather say our skill gap is costing us X amount of money, 18 million naira in revenue as the case is. Instantly, attention is grabbed, and that is what you want. You want the attention of the executives. Now, here is the formula I use in our analysis tool, in our talent gap analysis tool for identifying the cost of the gaps. Very simple formula. Direct loss is equal to average monthly output or average monthly revenue for each of the roles you've identified times the number of months that that role is underperforming or the number of months that that role is vacant, as the case is. That's a classic example of how to calculate this issue. Now, in addition to this direct loss, you can add other things that are not direct. There are other indirect loss. For example, overtime and replacement costs, extra payroll spend. There are some departments that they pay more whenever people are on overtime, so to speak. Then error and rework. As a supervisor, you know several times you ask the employee, go and do it again. Correct here, go and do it again. Do you know what the organization and the supervisor could have been working on if the first time he brought it, it passed successfully at that point in time? That's the cost of rework. Then there's lost opportunity, contracts we could not pursue. Clients have told you to send proposal, but because you don't have the talent or you don't have the engagement and you have that gap, the proposal, you did not send it. Or if you sent it, you did not send it on time and the client has moved on. Or even if you sent it on time, the client has gotten other people who are more excited, whose proposal are richer than your own proposal. At that point in time, you've lost opportunity. And then your team members are in the office making noise, having issues, struggling amongst themselves and complaining about different things. But the business is losing, as the case is. That's the cost of the gap that you have in your organization. Let me give you an example. So I can calculate this for you. You can see it very, very, very well. All right. So a single vacant senior role, sales role with a 5 million naira monthly target left open for 4 months. one vacant senior sales role left open. That role, the target for the man who is in charge of that particular role is 5 million naira monthly target. Now, for 4 months, HR did not recruit or could not find a replacement for 4 months. Now, 4 times 5 is how much? 20 million naira lost revenue in the organization at that point in time. That's crazy. Now, what if it is not one role? Maybe it is 5 sales roles that were not filled. So you now multiply 20 times 5. Now you have 100 million naira as the cases. What if the target is not 10 million, is not 5 million? The target monthly is 10 million. Then 100 million instantly changes. Guess what? To 200 million naira loss. This is why the CFO has nightmares. This particular information, once you show it on a dashboard in your meeting, when I talk about HR reporting and HR dashboard, when you're sending your report, stop reporting total staff strength, headcount 200, salary last month 1.5 million naira, resignation. Those are numbers they are not interested in. Focus on these numbers that drive results, drive decisions, and give you the budget you need to do what you want to do. So you're not a paper pushing department, as the case is. Now, there are hidden costs that executives usually forget. Brain drain or knowledge drain. When a staff resigns and leaves the organization, you've lost the knowledge, you've lost the experience, you've lost the capacity. The organization has lost it completely. This is why you don't blame your MDs. Sometimes when I meet some MDs and they are telling the staff not to resign, they are even willing to increase the staff salary. I don't blame the MD because the MD knows exactly what he's bleeding. Our colleagues and friends in HR and our department do not understand it. All they do is just manage the people and manage the payroll. But the organization still have to deal with that issue. So whenever you have a knowledge drain, the loss is colossal. 2, moral damage. Sometimes other team members are struggling. There's burnout, there's disengagement, there are issues. Because assuming somebody is not there, and then you now share the job to other people, then you stretch them. What if they don't have the competence to do the job and they are struggling with it? The impact is also on the customer. Instead of giving the customer wow service, 100% result, you're giving the customer less than 100%. You're giving the customer less than wow service at that point in time. And finally, there is reputational risk. Imagine what it feels like when I get called. A client calls me and says, look, Joel, I was referenced to you by one other person. There's a job I gave this other consulting firm and they messed it up. I understand you can handle it very well. I feel sad for that consulting firm. That's a reputational damage. Imagine if it's your company. You took on a contract and you could not deliver on it because of some of these hidden costs that we mentioned here. It is going to be really, really sad for the organization at that point in time. So think again. And at each point in time, I keep asking you this question. Which hidden cost is hurting your organization the most in the past 1 year? Which one has caught you the most? Is it knowledge? Is it morale? Is it customer? Is it reputation? Please share in the chat box. Which one has hurt you the most in the past 1 year? Knowledge? Is it knowledge drain? Is it morale? Is it customer? Is it reputation? Please share in the chat box. Let me see if I can get 5 responses. Which one is hurting you the most? Somebody said all. Okay, so we have knowledge drain, we have knowledge and morale, reputation. Somebody say, in fact, all of them. Exactly, and that's painful to hear because we're struggling. Organizations are struggling in this economic season, so to speak. Things are hard, things are difficult. Organizations are in serious debt threats, and that's why sometimes some businesses are not able to meet the numbers, and some of them are closing and laying off staff because of some of these constraints. Now let's calculate this cost. Let me put numbers and show you how to calculate it so you can actually do it very well on your own. So remember earlier, we did an exercise where you picked one critical role or one team, right? Now I estimated how long it would take, all right, their monthly outputs in terms of Naira. Let's say, remember we have taken, I use sales as an example, and then I say the volume sales is 5 million Naira monthly, then multiply by the months that they are unperforming, and I say 4 months. okay? And then add over time, rework, and lost opportunities. By the time you finish adding this, you get the total. This is a total gap that you're losing at that point in time in the organization. So again, try it within your time. Go through this exercise when you get, and I hope you have taken a screenshot. So take a shot of this particular slide now. Use it to make a calculation of your own institution and how you can make adjustments. So you can actually defend. When you walk into the next meeting, I don't want you to walk in speaking ordinary HR lingo. I want you to walk in there speaking CFO language, speaking MD's language at that point in time, as the case is. Now, let me share the tool that we normally use. I'm going to give you a high-level overview of this particular tool. And this tool helps us to take the guesswork out of talent gap management, all right? So too many organizations still guess where the problem is. They run on instincts. They run on anecdotes. They run on I feel, I think, it looks like, perhaps, all right? The talent gap analysis tool ends all those conversations. It measures where you are today against where your business needs to be tomorrow, both in skills and in leadership capacity. So you are no longer reacting blindly. Think of it as your organization's MRI, as the case is, right? It shows exactly where the pain is and how deep that pain goes at that point in time. So you measure both current capability and future needs. So never design a talent strategy without first measuring the gap. Don't put in place a strategy that, okay, we're going to recruit, we're going to train. You must measure the gap first before you put your strategy in place. And so sometimes when people come to our strategy retreat and our strategy sessions, I ask them, where is the gap you came with? And they say, well, we came to learn strategy. You can't come to learn strategy if you don't know what the strategy is for. And the strategy must be for that gap that you have that you want to address. Now, to use our tool, 5 steps to use this tool. Step 1, define the roles and the skills that we must focus on. And focus on only the ones that drive the business. It is not every role. If your organization, for example, is a bank, if you're a financial institution, maybe you're a fintech, you are a loan and savings organization, right? You cannot write dispatch rider, or courier in your list of roles. Dispatch riding is not a critical role in your organization. But of course, you can measure something like your IT staff who are responsible for taking care of your apps. You can measure those who are in relationship management, your operations staff. So those are critical roles and skills that you require. But if you're a courier company, then you must mention your dispatch rider, because the dispatch rider is critical talent, is a critical role for the business that you do. So clearly identify the role and the skills that are required at that time. 2, assess the current capabilities. Those people who are on that particular job, do you have the right number of people? Or do you need 20 and you have only 15 at this point in time? Do they have the skills and competence required for them? Or do they need to go on training to bring up their skills and their competencies at that point in time? What's their current performance? Are they A players in performing, or are they B or C at that point in time? What's their level of engagement? Are they excited, ready to go the extra mile on behalf of the organization? Or are they dragging themselves every day? They can't wait for Friday so that they can go for weekend, as the case is. Are there misalignments, quarrels, issues, conflicts, insufficient resources that are affecting the team at that point? So assess your current capabilities. Then 3, forecast your future needs. What do you need in the future? What is our strategy saying? Is MD talking about growth? Are they talking about entering new markets? Are they talking about introducing new products? What's the future need of your organization? 4, calculate the size and impact of the gap. Calculate it in terms of percentage, calculate it in terms of financial terms, as the case is. Now, when you're done, now prioritize all the gaps. Which one is one that has the highest impact? Those are the ones you will address first, the one you're going to fix first at that point in time. So again, let me summarize what I've said, all right? First, we define the critical roles and skills that truly move our business. Then we measure your current capability, your skills, your performance, your engagement, your alignment. Next, we forecast the business needs. So we are not just fixing today's gaps, but we are also preparing for tomorrow at that time. Step 4 is where we calculate the gap, both in percentage and also in financial costs. And then finally, we prioritize the intervention. So we are hitting the areas with the highest return on investment as the case is. Now, this is what it looks like, all right? Remember what we've said, the steps we went through at that point in time. So which ones have the highest, based on what you've identified, which one has the highest business impact? Low impact, medium impact, high impact. Which one has the highest capacity or the lowest capability, that we don't have the capability for business there? Low capability, medium capability, high capability. You see in this quadrant, this 3x3 quadrant, this is the box to work on. Highest business impact, but lowest capability. That means the highest gap and the highest impact at that point in time. This is where you're going to invest in. All right. So our tool helps you to identify where that red is, so you can begin to work on it at that point in time. Once again, when you get your material, right, identify which areas are your highest impact and low capability, so we can begin to work on those and begin to make it happen and push the boundaries so you can deliver more results. Okay, so I mean, we've spoken a lot about how to find the gap, how to prioritize the gap, what tool to use at that point in time. Okay, now, so how do you progress from data to decision? How do you get MD to sign off? How do you begin to present your numbers so they can take actions at that point in time? So you need to move and then generate what we call turning your numbers into a narrative, all right? Data alone does not win, stories do. So if you present data and you don't explain the data, executives will not understand. Move from data to story, from story to decision, and then from decision, you get the funding that you want. CFOs and MDs are not moved by HR jargon. They are moved by proof that your idea will protect or grow the business. Your job is to take the numbers you have gathered, strip away the fluff, HR jargons and issues around it, and tell a simple but high impact story that this is where the problem is. Here is what it is costing us. Again, here is the problem. Here is what is costing us. Here is how we're going to fix it. And here is the return on investment when we finish fixing it. If you don't tell that story, no one else will tell the story, because you are the person who is in charge of the data and that particular story, and you will not get the funding that you want. So simple, the problem, the impact, the solution, and then you get your answers at that point in time. My tip for you, use, when you're telling the story for your executives, when you're explaining what is going on, say, if we solve this problem, then this will happen. If we allow this problem to continue this way, then this is the way it will look like. An example, if we close this gap, we will save 45 million naira annually in lost productivity. That's interesting to tell. It is like music to the ears of any CFO, to the ears of any MD, once you can speak this language as the case is. Now, let me blow this up a little bit so that you can see it very well on how to tell this story as much as possible. So your business case, when you're building your business case, 3 things: the risk, what is it costing us? Quantify the problem at that point in time. And this is your weapon. CFOs does not need a 50-page, a 50-slide deck showing them everything slide by slide. They don't need all that. They need a one-page case that says, here is the danger, here is the upside, and here is the maths. And then the sharper your numbers are, the faster you get a yes to it at that point in time. So quantify the cost, show the potential revenue or savings if we solve the problem, and then demonstrate how the investment will pay for itself. Because they're always asking, if we give you this money, how do we get our money back? So show them how the investment will pay for it. Here's an example I have. to use this particular formula that I have. Risk, we are losing 25 million naira annually to delayed project delivery due to skill shortages. So you see the risk is 25 million naira. That's what we're losing every year. Opportunity, closing this gap enables us to meet 100% of project deadlines, unlocking 40 million naira in revenue. Opportunity, 40 million naira. We are going to make 40 million naira. Now, return, proposed solution will cost us 12 million naira and we'll have return within 6 months. This is very interesting. Now, remove 12 million naira. This 12 million naira, remove it from this 40 million naira. That will give us, remove this 12 million naira is the cost you're asking CFO. You're asking MD to approve 12 million naira training, 12 million naira recruitment, anything. So currently we are losing 25 million. But if you remove this 12 million naira from this 25 million, we are going to have what? We're going to have 13 million naira. Now 13 million naira plus 40 million naira, 13 plus 40 gives us 53 million. So our return, because we will recover this 25 we're losing, and we'll have another opportunity for another 50, another 40. So 40 plus 25 is 65 million. Now 65 minus 12 will give us this 53 million. So any MD, any CFO that sees your numbers like this can see clearly that there is money to be made from 12 million naira investment to 53 million naira. That's fantastic. They most probably would ask you, where do we sign? When do you want to start, as the case is at that point in time? Another thing, you need to engage your CFO and your MD early enough. Ask them what metrics matter before you start. Understand what they are looking at, what they are chasing, what is important to them in the organization. 2, share a preview of your findings. Make them co-owners as you're discovering things. Let me go back. When you discover this loss, share this loss with them upfront before you come with a solution, so that they know what they are bleeding, what their problems are. Share the opportunity for them. What if we're able to solve this problem? What are we going to make? 40 million naira. So they already see the 25 they are losing and the 40 that they are going to make at that point in time. So later, when you now come with your presentation and speak to them, they will instantly be willing to spend that 12 million naira. So too many HR leaders bring the CFO a finished proposal without involving them early. I know nobody likes you dumping proposal on top of them. That's like inviting someone to dinner after you have already ordered for them. Then what use is it that you invite me to dinner and then in the restaurants, once I sit down, food appears. You did not ask me what I want to eat, as the case is. So involve them in shaping the business case, and suddenly it's their idea too, and they will run with it with you at that point in time. An example, instead of saying we need a new LMS, a new learning management system, never say that. Nobody will want to approve it in this economic period. Nobody is going to sign off. Simply tell them that an LMS will cut onboarding time from 8 weeks to 3 weeks, saving us 18 million naira per year. The LMS we want to acquire is only 5 million naira. Are you kidding me? They will sign off, as the case is at that point in time. And this is exactly the way you need to present the facts to your executives. Now, it's time to walk into the boardroom. It's time to walk into the CFO's or MD's office and present your case to them. All right? So why good ideas unfortunately die when we get to the boardroom? Common reasons why the ideas and the proposal will go into the boardroom die is because it is not linked to business strategy. It has weak financial justification. It has an unclear execution plan. And it is too technical, full of HR jargons, as the case is. Okay? Because they die even before we present them, because we're not presenting them in the language. Key lessons that we need to take. If leadership cannot see the numbers, they will not sign the check at that point in time. Okay, so a question for all of you. Who here has had a great idea rejected before and later watched the company suffer because they did not implement your idea? 13 hours. Who has had this experience? You brought a great idea and the organization rejected it, and later you saw the organization suffering. for that idea that they did not accept. If only they accepted that idea, they wouldn't have suffered. Who has experienced that before? Just say I or me. If you have experienced it before in the chat box, you brought idea and they said no to it. Somebody said this was the experience last month. Exactly, and that's my point. However, sometimes it is not really the fault of the executive. The format in which it was presented or it was engaged is a problem for them, so to speak. All right? So you need to translate talent gaps into business risk. That's the first thing we need to do. Translate talent gaps into business risk. And how do we do this? Executives respond faster when they see a direct threat to revenue, when they see a direct threat to cost, when they see a direct threat to compliance, they respond immediately at that point in time. So talent gaps must be framed as tangible things. HR cannot be framing talent gaps as abstract HR problems because they will ignore it. Quantify them, and then suddenly you will get the attention and funding that you need at that point in time. All right? So I've given you an example. From saying we have a skills gap, say we are losing X million naira annually due to low productivity in this particular area. So move from HR language to business risk language and use this CFO's calculator. There's a calculator that you can use to make this calculation at that point in time. So a company presented a skills gap as a 125 million naira lost revenue risk. The CFO approved funding of 25 million within 10 minutes. Immediately the CFO see the loss, 125 million. He instantly signed that MD, there is budget, we'll have money for it. Please approve MD. Because usually MD will send to CFO, please advise in some cases. So immediately the CFO saw the opportunity, 125 million naira loss, and you only need 25 million to solve it. He signed immediately, please MD approve. And that is all we need at that point in time. Look, there's a funding decision formula. There's a formula for getting funding anywhere you want. And it's based on 3 C's. 1, clarity. Keep it simple. Be strategic and focus on finance. Very, very clear. 2, credibility. Make sure there is data to support what you're saying. Don't just speak assumptions, unrealistic assumptions. 3, be confident. Be bold when you speak to the executives. Show them clear execution roadmap with milestones. Tell them resources are in place, that you're currently training your staff who are going to implement it, that you're doing a roadshow immediately to address it immediately. They can see you already pre-implementing. Even before you get approval, they see action in you already, and they are willing to sign off at that point in time. So it's very critical for you to do this very well. If your proposal is confusing, unrealistic, or vague about execution, leadership will find fault with it, and they will say no immediately. So use the 3 C's, and it will help you. Now, how do you do this? How do you frame this conversation with your leaders? First, I'll give you my structure. This is my framework of how I'll do it. And then I'll give you a classic example, a real document from an organization that framed it well and they got approval, as the case is, instantly. So here's what you do. Here's my framework. First, state the problem. What is the problem? Quantified gap and cost of inaction at that point in time. Leadership is busy. Please get to the point. 2, solution. What you are proposing as a solution that must be written in the business language, as the case is. 3, the benefit of your solution. Clear return on investment, payback period, and net promoter score or net present value, as the case is. 4, ask. Sometimes we don't remember to ask money. We don't remember to ask, please approve. We don't remember to say approve. Management will finish it. They don't see anywhere to approve. They'll just write on it, noted, seen, and send back to us. Learn to ask. The budget required with phased spending, if possible. Don't tell them to give 25 million. Tell them that this project will require 25 million, phased across 5 months. 5 million naira every month. It's easy for MD to sign up than for him to sign up one big money at that point in time. So if you can't tell them the problem, solution, benefit, and budget in under 2 minutes, they have lost attention. They are too busy. They move on to other things. So get to the point and make that point financially sharp. Here is a classic example. I don't know if you'll be able to read my screen, but this is a memo that I got from one of my clients as a cases that they presented after we reviewed the document together. And when we finished reviewing his case, and then he wrote it based on the way I presented it for him, he went and presented it, and he got approval immediately. So here is an example. So let me see. And in fact, it was this particular case that led me to say, no, I need to run this particular webinar so that others can learn from it. So you can see internal memo, managing director and also CFO from Joshua Alo, head of HR talent strategy, July 24th. Request for approval, talent development initiative to recover 120 million in lost revenue. Can you see he did not ask the money he wants? He did not put it there, but he showed them the money they are losing as the cases in the subject. Background. Our latest talent performance analysis has revealed a critical skills gap affecting 35% of our workforce. This gap has directly contributed to operational inefficiencies, project delays, and customer churn, translating to an estimated 120 million in lost revenue annually. The affected roles are strategically vital to our revenue generation and operational delivery. You see, that is background. Remember, I will say, what is the problem? They've stated the problem. Now, proposed solution. I am requesting approval for a one-time investment of 25 million to implement a targeted learning and development intervention that is designed to, one, achieve an 85% closure of the identified skills gap within 3 months. Two, deploy competency-based training, coaching, and performance monitoring for the affected team members. Three, ensure transfer of learning into measurable on-the-job performance improvements. This program will be delivered through a blended learning model combining expert-led workshops, digital learning models, and role-specific mentoring. Now, benefits, expected outcomes. Within 3 months, the initiative will increase productivity in the affected areas by at least 20%, reduce operational errors and delays in revenue-driving processes by over 80%, improve customer retention and turnaround times, leading to direct revenue recovery. ROI projected in 6 months. Current loss, 120 million annualized. That's about 60 million naira every month, every 6 months. Projected recovery, we shall recover 51 million naira revenue regained within 6 months. That's 85% of the 60 million naira. Investment required, one time, 25 million. So net return on investment is going to be 26 million naira. Sorry. Ongoing annualized ROI beyond year one will be significantly higher as the skills improvement compounds and no further investment at this scale is required. Now, strategic rationale, why they must invest, why they must do this thing. Doing nothing will continue the 120 million naira revenue drain, deepen customer dissatisfaction, and risk attrition of high-value clients. This initiative directly addresses the root cause and positions us for operational stability, stronger customer relationship, and higher revenue generation capacity. Can you see where they are asking for money? Ask. He says request for approval. I recommend that 25 million naira investment be approved immediately to enable deployment of the solution to the next 30 days. In the next 30 days. The timeline is critical to ensure we capitalize on the projected 3-month turnaround and start realizing revenue recovery within the current fiscal half year. Decision required. Please approve the release of 25 million from the current budget contingency allocation to fund this initiative. Signed, Joshua Law. Do you notice that there is no way the executives will not want to pay attention to this particular number once they see this? Because it is very, very engaging and addresses the problem. If you like this particular tone and how it is written, please send an emoji, send a thumbs up on emoji right now. Let's see. If this resonates with you and it looks like something you can do, just send an emoji. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks a lot. So this is clear. It's doable as the case is. It can be implemented. Thank you very much. All right. So moving forward. So you need to move from yes to action, from a yes person to an action person. Get approval. Immediately you get the approval, instantly begin to implement. Because management, once they release money, they want to see results immediately. Even though you've told them in 3 months, instantly show them some results. So what to do once you receive funding? Lock in your timelines and your KPIs. Secure your wins within the first 90 days and communicate progress on a monthly basis to your leaders as the case is. A budget without delivery is an invitation to cut your budget next year. If they give you money this year and you don't deliver, next year, they will not give you anything again. So make sure you act immediately they give it to you at that point in time. And again, here is a question for you to take away. What's the first thing you will do after your proposal is approved? If that document comes down to you and it shows signed, approved, MD approved, so to speak, what is step one? What is the first thing you're going to do? The first thing you should do instantly is to generate a 90 days plan. Instantly create your action plan immediately and start working on it at that point in time. And why 90 days? It is long enough for you to see the results you expect to see. It is short enough for you to keep the momentum and energy high in the organization while you're giving reports on what is going on. And it allows for agile adjustment in case if there are areas that you need to adjust, you can adjust it within that particular 90 days. And it carries leadership along. It carries leadership along at that point in time. So this 90 days framework is magic. It's not magic. Honestly, it's not magic, but it's psychological, so to speak. It's about compressing focus, setting crystal clear goals, and creating undeniable wins before any skepticism sets in. Before somebody says, why did we give HR 25 million? They already see results. They are seeing results immediately. Why did we start this project? Why did we send some people on training? When a line manager says he cannot send his staff on training, that his staff is busy, already MD is shouting that he has approved 25 million for HR. So the manager cannot but send his staff on that particular program as the case is, so you can deliver results as much as possible in order to get the results that you want. So those are the things you need to do. So your 90 days plan starts today. Don't wait for the perfect time. All right. Identify the critical gaps like we have discussed earlier, right? And use the data, quick wins, and storytelling method that we spoke about, and commit to presenting your results, right, in a 90-day format, not negotiable. And this is your challenge for you to be able to achieve these results. And always note that we're here to support you on the process. A vision without a deadline is just a dream. So get into the mode and begin to get the job done. Now, reviewing what we have covered so far, right? In our conversation so far, we've gone through 6 different things. We've looked at the cost of doing nothing. We've seen how to spot the gaps. We've seen how to quantify the size of that gap and the cost of the gap. We looked at an analysis tool of how to make it happen. And we've looked at how you can move from data to decision, how you can sell it to leadership, and how you can put an implementation and execution plan in place to achieve results. Recapping what we have covered. Step 1, spot the gap within your organization. Step 2, measure the impact of that particular gap, right? Step 3, turn your data into action. Step 4, sell it to your leadership team. And step 5, which is the 90-day challenge, implement it lazily, and then you're good to go at that point in time. Okay, so this is where I like to stop with our conversation. If you have any questions or feedback, please share it in the chat box, and I'm willing to take it from you now. Questions, feedback, concerns, we will address them immediately. If you want to speak, you can use the raise hand feature, and you'll be invited to unmute yourself to speak. We just have 2 more minutes so we can wrap up. And while you're sharing and writing the notes, let me just let you know that this is not the end of the journey. You can continue this particular journey as the case is. It goes beyond this particular training that we've had. We invite you to join us for any of our HR leadership programs or management development programs as the case is. Connect with us for your team interventions, executive coaching, leadership retreat, or HR transformation. So I see Lambano's hand is up. Please, you can unmute yourself and speak.
All right, good afternoon, Godfather.
Afternoon.
Please let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, very clearly, absolutely.
All right,
clearly.
thank you. Thank you so much for this insightful delivery. So at the stage I am now, I've been able to spot the problem, the challenges in my organization. So with what you pointed our attention to this afternoon, I can actually do something with it. But I want to ask, is there a way we can partner together to resolve this? Because aside from doing it alone on my own, I think if you can hold me by my hands to walk through the solutions, I will appreciate that. So what's the next step for me to do at this point?
Okay, absolutely. Thank you very much. And we are clearly willing and ready to work with you and partner with you. Right on the screen, you can take a snapshot of this screen. My contact details are on it. You can chat me directly, and then we can have a conversation. You can also send us an email, the same email through which you receive some of your registrations and information, and then we'll be able to engage you and walk through at that point in time. All right, so I'm willing to assist you and see how we can go with this as the case is. Thank you very much. There's a question on the chat box. Chinwe says, my question is, how can HR manage heads of departments that are just doing the work, but also not spotting or identify gaps within their team, especially to even know where the direct issues are, either error, rework, cost, or non-alignment as the case is. Okay, so sometimes, thank you, Chinwe. Sometimes the concerns is that some of our leadership team managers do not understand what we are trying to say, and they are not working with us on the same page. So when you have that kind of scenario, you will need to engage. Remember what we said so far, that one of the things, your data is not enough. You still need to narrate. But however, you can identify basic ones that you see, like vacancies is clear. That's a gap. All right. Skill gap is clear from your appraisers. Appraisers tells you who has gaps as the case is. So those are the ones that you have direct control over. Then although you may have some line managers that are not talking to you, out of 20 line managers, there must be 1, 2, or 3 that is talking to you. Engage those ones, get their answers and their issues. Let's begin to address those people's own. You notice that when you address those people's own and they are enjoying it, the rest will say, me too, how about me? Come and address my own. So start where you have powers, where you have influence, make it happen. Then over time, you will expand on what you're able to do. That is one way of doing it. The second way of doing it is actually to create a program that the MD is in support with you, that allows us to identify gaps across the organization. Then you can do a one-time January or March or December or quarterly gap identification. And then you do it organization-wide one time. And then you build solutions around it. So that's the second way to do it, using a survey through that is endorsed by MD to make it happen at that point in time. Then the final one that you can do is run a leadership program or a retreat for your managers. Get them into class, get a consultant. We can come in and talk to them. Once we have that conversation with them, they notice what they are losing. And instantly they will ask for more from you at that time. So any of these 3 answers will solve your problem for you. Okay. Okoro says the gap analysis tool. Well, I have shared the steps and what is in the tool as the cases, but the tool is proprietary for now. It's something we use in our consulting space in engaging clients as the cases. It's actually an automated Excel sheet that will feed information into and it generates outcomes for us. as the case is. So we may not be able to share 100% as the case is, but I have shared what it can do and how it works. So you can either build your own or we can work together to make something happen at your own end. Shola says, thank you, Okoro. Shola says, is there a way we can get access to the recording to listen again and again? Yes, at the end of this particular session, this recording will be shared to all of us. It's also going to be on our YouTube. It's going to be on our e-learning platform also. Thank you very much. My colleague Ruth has already responded to that. Thank you so much, Chinwe. Thank you. Thank you. Eso says she has a question. Please ask. Go ahead and ask.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Adra.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for the lecture. It was a very good one. So my question is, can you hear me?
Yes, very clear, very loud.
So my question is, so as much as we try to get in good talents and also manage them to ensure that there's profitability from the company's angle, remember that you are actually identifying these gaps from various departments. Yeah. So let's say for the sales department, you identify that okay, at this particular time we used to have a team of 12 people, and now we have just a team of 5 people. Of course, there is already a profit loss for let's say 3 months or 2 months, as the case may be. Now you decide to come up with all of this. You identify the gap. You talk about the losses and what we tend to gain, and how you need to also release a certain amount for us to be able to bring in good talents to replace the lost ones. And then your budget has been approved. Now you have to work with the department to ensure that oh, what was promised out there you can actually deliver, because now it has to do with that sales department. So what happens when the department in question is not cooperating with what you have brought in for them? Because at this point in time, is your reputation that is actually at stake, not really the sales department. So how do you actually deal with that?
Thank you very much. Sorry, your question is very profound. This is similar to what Chinwe asked earlier. What if you don't get the support of the various units? You notice in our conversation, I said that even before you approach to executives asking for approval, you are already showing signal signs of what the gaps are and where they are, so to speak. You're already taking decisions, you're putting your team members in place, you're gathering data, you're having conversations as the case is. It's like when we're doing a performance management review, and then we say performance management starts in X months, as the case is. And then one department, the leader is not cooperating with us at that point in time. And somehow we finish appraisal, and that department's, the entire team, the appraisal documents did not come in. Now, because we finished appraisal, the other departments that sent us the appraisal documents, we were able to identify the gaps of those departments. So we organized training for them. Then the other leader came and was harassing us. Why are his team members not attending this training? I said, because you didn't do appraisal. The gaps for the training was identified from that particular appraiser. You didn't give it to us. We came to you. We were with you more than 10 times. Look at all the emails we sent to you. You were busy then. So you have to wait for the next season. So at that point in time, he knows that any action he takes, it will come back and bite him, as the case is. Sometimes he says no, that his team members must be there. Say, well, sir, you have to go and do those appraisals so we can document it and extract it from it. It is based on those appraisals that this is done. Sometimes they go back and do what they are supposed to do. So that's one thing. The other thing you need to do is you need to be close to your leaders. HR executives, you cannot always stay in your office. Make it a point to visit each of the departmental managers and build a relationship with them. Engage with them. They need to see you as a partner, not as a support, as the case is. Always be there with them. If there are 10 of them, come up with a 2 weeks plan. On Monday, I go to sales. On Tuesday, I go to operations. All you need to do is spend just 10 to 15 minutes. Identify all the issues you're familiar with in his department and go and sit down with him and say, sir, good morning. It's nice. Thank you for giving me an audience. I'd like to talk about the gaps in your department. I've noticed that you're struggling with just 5 persons. You used to have 12. How are you coping? How are you meeting your numbers? I've noticed that 2 of your team members, based on the last appraisal, they only scored 50 or 40. They are not meeting their numbers. What do you want to do about it? Will you want me to discuss some solutions? So you see, they see you as someone who is there to help them, not that you are only there when they call you. but you are proactive with them. And that proactivity makes them support you, as the case is. Now, this is what you should do before you get approval. But now that you have approval, like you have said, well, you will not return the money back to MD. If you return the money back to MD, next year they will not give you approval because it means you didn't know what to do with the money. It is not late. So you still go and engage with them and tell them, sir, I have a budget to run training for your department. All right. And I'm thinking of running customer services. I'm thinking of running strategic sales. I'm thinking of running this for your team members. Which of these topics will you want me to run? The consultants are ready to do it. So you go as if you are already implementing. Don't go there as, don't beg for approval. Don't beg for permission. Just go there and tell them that the consultants are ready and they are willing to implement. We just want to know which of the topics to focus on. Which one is a priority for you? So that way it gives them power to say, okay, they are the ones deciding what you're going to do. Or perhaps I have approval to recruit. Maybe it's recruitment and you have approval to recruit. Sir, you have lost 3 people. One is customer service officer, the other one is sales officer, the other one is account officer. Of these 3 roles, which one do you prioritize? Which one do you want me to fill first? And do you have any candidates or CVs you have that we can quickly begin to talk to? Give him power. Make them feel that they are in charge, as the case is. And instantly they will come behind you and support you at that point in time. All right? So try any of those, right? And I'm sure it will help you to move forward.
Thank you
All right?
very much.
Very good. Faith says, how do you also deal with managers that don't manage, who don't manage? Not very clear. But how do you, I think you're asking, how do you deal with managers who don't manage talent well?
Yes, yes, yes,
Well,
yes, yes. Who don't
well,
manage talents?
they
Yes.
need to be managed. Those managers need to be, you need to support them. You need to guide them. You need to develop them. I don't want to say training quickly, but you need to find out why they are not managing talent well. This morning, I had a conversation with a CEO of, before this class, with a CEO of a particular organization, and he was complaining about his expatriates. That he has some expatriates in his organization. They are shouting, they are screaming, they are alpha male, they don't have respect for people, they abuse people anyhow. And that this expatriate, that he can't just sack them, that they are doing their job very well, they are producing results. Whatever he wants, they are giving. It's just that they are not working well with team members. So that could be the thing. It may be a personality flaw. And I referred to him that some 2 months ago, where my organization advertised an expatriate program where we help expatriates to learn how to manage Nigerians, how to work better in Nigeria and achieve great results. That's a possible solution he should look at. There is most probably issues around emotional intelligence, personality, leadership style, and things like that. So those are things we need to guide his expatriates in those areas. Same answer I'm giving to you, Faith. It might not be that they do not have the skills. It could be their personality that is affecting them. But if it is a skill gap, it's easy. Call for training. We'll run trainings and they'll be much more competent to do their job. But if it is not skill gap, in that case, you need to coach and mentor them and share periodic leadership, 360 degrees leadership feedback. And gradually, you can adjust those areas also. All right? Okay, so if there are no more
Yeah, I heard
questions
him.
and
Thank
thoughts
you
in
very
this
much.
area, thank you very much, everyone. Feel free
Thank
to reach out at any point in time. You can access any of my books to help you. I am in any of the areas that you are on. The Fire Your HR book, the Burning Platform, Beyond